This is Anna here. I am just a few minutes early to start our demo. And I am right now in my kitchen. As you can see, my studio is a little bit too cold. And I've been painting for a few days now. So I just decided to set up over here. We're gonna wait just a little bit. Hopefully the lighting, I didn't put any extra lighting here. I am really cranking these out to put in the kiln today still. I've been working on these lidded jars now for 3 or 4 days now. Painting nonstop because these will be in my sale Monday. At 7 p.m. So I need to take pictures, list them in my shop. So I still have a lot of work, but I decided that I wanted to include these in my restock. So it's been quite hectic in here. Hey everyone. Sorry, I just started a little bit earlier today, just to see if everything is working. If you guys can hear me. And like I was saying, I didn't put any extra lighting here, just what I have here in my kitchen. I just wanted to give you guys a quick demo of Cuerda Seca. It's one of the techniques that I love doing. It's very satisfying to me, except when I am in a hurry and, I wanted to finish these actually last night, and I couldn't make it last night. So then today I decided, since I'm still working on them, then I decided to just do this live just to show you a little bit of the process. It's not something that goes fast. It's quite time consuming, especially for something that is painted all around. So I wanted to show you the different stages. So this is the one. Hi, April. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. This is one little jar that I did that I'm going to do the demo today, just to show you a little bit of how I blend in colors. I use all Stroke and Coat for now, but at the moment, I mixed a new glaze that is for Cuerda Seca, but I haven't tested yet. So that would happen after the holidays. Hopefully I'll have some time to test a lot of glazes, and hopefully they will work. They will be mixed just with different stains, mason stains, to create different colors. But for now, I'm using Stroke and Coat. They work really well. But what I recommend is for you to fire to a cone 5. Don't go higher than, at the highest, a cone 5.5, because once it goes to a cone 6, they start moving more. So then they're not as suitable for Cuerda Seca anymore, because you don't want your glaze to have any kind of movement because of your lines. So the idea is for the glazes to stay put. And so, hey, hi everyone. So then, yeah, that's what I'm using right now is Stroke and Coat. The mixture is, I'll put the link afterwards, is this oil that I've been using. It says Danish oil, but it's really polymerized linseed oil with, let me see, it might be backwards. Just black iron oxide that I buy from my pottery supplier. It's a powder. And what I do is I mix 50-50 on a tile. I don't even have the tile here to show you guys. But I do it with a pallet knife like this. Get one that is very flexible, like that. Because what you want to do is you want to really go like this and mix it well. This is the key thing for Cuerda Seca that people don't realize, is that you really need to mix your oil with the oxide really well. or otherwise it just won't work. You either gonna have too much oil floating in the surface where it gets absorbed by the clay, and then the glaze separates from your line work. Or if it is too thick, the powder in the mixture starts to float into the glaze. So it's really not an exact science. I know I did a live demo yesterday on Instagram, and I'm repeating that. I don't know if you guys saw me on Instagram, but that I can't emphasize enough that how important it is to mix it well, and it is not an exact science. It's not like mixing a glaze. So when you mix your oil, you start out, like I said, with the 50-50 mixture, and then just keep adding a little bit of oil at a time until it's like a yogurt consistency. You want something really smooth to do your line work, and that's pretty much it. So in here, I already did my background first. I don't always do the background first. It doesn't matter whether you do your your design first inside and then do the background, or do the background. It really doesn't matter. It's up to you. But I was watching TV last night, and I wanted to just keep it one glaze with me. So I was sitting on the couch just glazing away. So I did this one, is Blue Yonder. It looks beautiful with the pink. Can I buy that flamingo you're doing? It will be on my sale on Monday. I don't reserve things. It would just go online on my shop, Shopify, at 7 p.m. on Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so all these lidded jars will be up for sale. Then this one is already done. It's a cute little frog, as you can see, and I continued the design on top of the lid. And then I glazed it beforehand, so it's glazed inside with my Celso Chan is the glaze that I use. And this will be on the kiln today at, for hopefully before this afternoon to be fired, because I wanted to take pictures and list them. And I still have a lot of work to do. So this is the design that I did. All my designs are just free-handed. I just look at pictures and I freehand them. This is another one that I'm gonna be working on today also. So pretty much I only have this one to go and this flamingo one. Those are the two I just need to finish. And let me just tell you one more thing about the oil. I used to use, you can use different oils. The difference between the one that I used before, even earlier this year, I was using sesame seed oil, the cooking oil that you use. The difference between using that oil and the polymerized linseed oil is that the linseed oil dries. Not dry completely because the powder is still on the surface, but it's better than the sesame seed oil because that one never dries. So if you're making something like this that is heavily designed all around, it's very hard for you to hold and paint without getting the oil and the mixture, smudged. And so this is an advantage using the polymerized oil. So it doesn't dry completely, but look, I can put my finger and you see how it's not like coming off right away. If you really rub your hands on it, it will come off a little bit on your hands, but for most of the time it doesn't. So that's an advantage of using the polymerized linseed oil. Anyways, I started painting here my plumeria flowers, And you can see that I blended a little bit. They have a yellow middle and then pink. They have different colors, but the ones I'm using, I used Sun-Kissed and Melancholy is the other pink, real nice pink color. And so another thing for you guys to probably do the same if you're doing Cuerda Seca is to make these tiles with the names of the colors and fire them standing up. So I just put one of those kiln shelf supports and I put it behind my tile because you want it to be vertical to see if they drip or not. So some drips more than others, some colors, so not all colors are alike. So that's why it's important to make a tile like this and fire them vertically. Because, you know, if you're making a tile, is the glaze stay put. Once you put something vertical, they move a little bit. So it's important to know if there is a puddle here at the end, like the purple ones tend to run a little bit more. That's why it's important to fire at cone 5, because that way it still works for your clay body and you won't have that much movement on the glaze. You can also use a clay that is maybe a lower, like an earthenware, and that works with stroke and coat as well. So as I was telling you, that this is not a fast process. So I use this little bottle applicator with the needle tool that is bent. And I can put all these links on my description after we're done. So I'll start with this, with the beak. I have the other flamingo here so I can use it as my reference. Usually I have a picture of whatever I'm making to see, you know, the colors to use as a reference. So this is the one I'm using here. And it's hard to see here that I have 3 colors here on the flamingo. It looks on the video, it just looks like 1 color, but it's really about 3 colors I used. So I'm just looking to see how I made his beak. So you don't have to do the same as to make it realistic colors. You can do any colors you want. You can make a flamingo blue or, you know, I tend to be more on the realistic side. It just happens. I don't, it's not something that I try to do it. I try to go the other way sometimes. It's just, I have to step out of my comfort zone sometimes to be more spontaneous, and which I like to do sometimes. You know, I like to do like the leaves. That's when I step a little bit and I make like the leaves purple sometimes or blue. So here I'm going to use, so this is another thing, the tip kind of clogs sometimes. So you keep a pen or something, just a needle, just to unclog your bottles. So I went from white in here. I hope you guys can see. And the key here is to keep, when you're doing that blending, I'm just going around his eye here. When you're doing something real thin like that piece right around his eye is also white, you barely touch the clay. You just kind of keep the glaze flowing. So now to do the blending, I'm gonna do a little bit of white here, and then was that Melancholy I used? Oof. Yeah. So I went with Melancholy, and then Pinkaboo is the other color that I use. So I'll show you here. So you could either blend in with the very tip of your bottle, kind of going back and forth like that. I also use just a brush to kind of where they meet to blend in those two colors. So with the white and the pink, and it's easier to do it while it's still wet. And that's my Pinkaboo, which is a lighter pink now towards the end here of the beak. So as you guys have an idea of how long it takes to paint an entire jar, because I don't use just one color, I do a lot of this blending, and not just on the birds, I do it on the leaves, everything. So it's more time consuming. So now, once you get to, oh yeah, move. Yeah, let me see if I can put this down just a little bit, the camera, see if I can move in just a little bit on an angle here that you can see a little better. It's hard to put it on a place, on an angle that you guys can see, but I can also see what I'm doing. So I hope this is a little bit better. So I'm going with, that's Pinkaboo. I'm going with Melancholy, which is a darker pink. Also, the idea of the Cuerda Seca is to be raised. The glaze is raised and the lines are flat, so that creates a texture. That's the idea of Cuerda Seca, really, is to have that raised effect. So here, I'm changing to the pink, just because the top of his head is I want it to be like a highlight. So you have to think that way if you want to make things more realistic using glazes. It's almost like painting, but you're painting with glaze in a way. So as the light reflects on top of his head, this area here is a little lighter. So now I'm blending a little bit. So it's hard to tell the difference, but the Pinkaboo is a lighter pink. The Melancholy, let me see if I have a sample here for you to see. Melancholy is this third color right here. As you can see, the difference, you can't tell by looking in here. But you see how it's that peachy coral? It's a real nice color for flamingos, especially. I like using that color for different things, but especially it looks wonderful on a flamingo because it really resembles the flamingo color. And when I went on vacation to Curacao, I was fortunate to see these beautiful birds up close, and they are so beautiful. I went to a flamingo sanctuary and saw them up close. And it's funny how some really have that coral color and some are very more pale, you know, pink. So because I like color, I'm making them more of the darker, kind of like salmon color or flamingo color, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, they're beautiful birds. So here, or actually I'm gonna come down a little bit more. Yeah, I'm gonna mix in a little bit more of the lighter pink. Another thing that takes longer when you're working on a rounded piece too is that because you are squirting the glaze thick, not thick, but the glaze is actually watered down. The stroke and coat, I do add a little bit more water because if not, they're too thick. But what I want to say is not the thickness, is the how they're raised, right? So when you squirt to have the raised effect, you have to be very careful because they will drip. And sometimes, as I've done it here before, when I was doing a live, I think it was a frog that I was doing. I was talking about that, and the drip just went right across. So it is something you have to watch and wait a little bit. So yeah, it just takes time. You know, just as a FYI, it's not something that you want to rush through. So right around here is where the feathers come down on his neck. I'm going to make it even darker because to resemble like this is more of a shadow, like right around there, all the way down. So that's gonna give that effect also around his beak, like that. And then I can blend here a little bit. If the glaze gets more dry, and you can just add a little bit of the other glaze and do the blending again. So yeah, it's keeps me on my toes to kind of go a little bit faster on the blending, you know, before it dries. Another thing that is nice doing this too is this technique is doing feathers. If you're doing birds with a lot of feathers, that works really well, as you can change colors and then do that feathering effect. Yeah, this is. So I'm just gonna continue on with that melancholy color, and then right here in the front, I'm gonna use the pink. Now see here is pulling a little bit of the color. I'm just gonna do this to remove some of that excess and continue on. And see how here is already drying. So it doesn't take an awful long to dry for you to continue doing the work. This is pulling a little bit more in here. And I go real close to the bottom, and then I just sponge just a little bit this area here, but because the glaze is very stable, you can come almost right to the, you know, to the edge of your piece. So doing just a little bit more of that. Okay, so kind of hard to see on the video here, the colors. So it's really dripping here at the bottom. I don't want it. Okay, so now here's another thing that I would do. Let me show you guys here. Hopefully I can capture here on the video. See how close I can get. You see how I have these little, maybe, you see, I hope you guys can see, there are like little, almost like little drops. I wanted to make like highlighted the feathers for, just to show a little bit of light. And so I'm gonna do that here. And this is just the white. And you just do little drops and you pull it just to resemble the feather on his head. And then maybe a little bit here. Kind of random. Okay, so what's missing here for his face? I like to use this limelight is a good color for his eyes, because from what I've seen on the pictures, the eyes are like a yellowish green color. And I think this limelight is a good color for that. So, sorry, this is so small that I don't know if you guys can see. And then I'm gonna do the middle, you know, black, the pupil. And so here's another thing I do. I wanted to show you guys, sometimes you go over the line a little bit. I use this graffito tool, but you can actually use like a needle tool to scrape off where the glaze gets a little bit in there. And you just, it's easier if you wait until it dries to scrape off instead of trying to do it when it's wet, because I know you have that urge to clean right away, but it's easier if you wait until it dries and then you just scrape it off. Either needle tool or graffito tool, anything that can scrape off. And then I'll do the feathers the same way that I did here, just doing some more of that blending. I try to do the darker underneath the feathers and then a lighter color towards the end of the feather. And so that's my demo for today, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I will have a combined kiln opening because I haven't showed you guys the last one that I did. So I will combine, probably tomorrow I'll have another kiln opening for these guys here, but I probably won't do it until later. So I'll do a video instead of a live, and then after my sale, I'll have the new video for the kiln opening. So that's it. I hope the kiln gods look after my pieces. So thank you so much, guys, for being here with me today, and have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.